Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we're going to have a look at one of the new air maps which has come to the game in War Thunder. This is the Operation version of Smolensk that you can find here. Now I haven't been able to actually find it in an actual battle yet, but what we're going to do is going to have a look at it in a custom battle now. Understand that this map is in the game, and I think because of the general small size of at least the objective area, it's probably going to be a low tier map, and if it is a high tier map, then it would also make sense, but for different reasons. So I'll also talk about the J5 in this. The J5 is an absolute barn stock. It doesn't feel nice to fly at all, but fully upgraded as it is now with the 220s and 230s. As long as you climb at 15 to 20 and then, you know, shoot down a bomber and then force 2-on-1s, it's actually a really good fighter. I'm actually, the KD that I have in this thing made no sense to me because it didn't feel nice grinding through this thing. But then when I looked at my stats, I realized I was 21 and 9 in it, and it's just like, well, how did that happen? So yeah, it's an oddity, but it is fun to fly, well fully spaded, just a rough grind through to get those final engine modifications. Overall though, it's a pretty good fighter. Now, the other stuff to talk about, obviously with Smolensk, is its general feel for a realistic map, meaning that you have your basic AI around this area in the center, then you've got your basic 3 bases. You can see that they are evenly spread, at least on the west side. On the east side, you've got a little bit more spacing, and the bases themselves are slightly different depending on which base you go to. And before I go to the bases though, I do want to point something out before they die. On this map, you have a variety of AI. So on these 3 columns, you basically have medium tanks. These are T-34s, or they are Panzers, I believe. Actually, we'll go and have a look at them soon. But here in this area is a column of SPGs. Now, I have no idea why they're here. I don't know whether it's a historical thing that happened in one of the battles of Smolensk, but ahead of all the rest of the forces, so the defensive forces around Smolensk, because I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be the 1944 Battle of Smolensk, where the Soviets were taking it back, there's just a bunch of nasshorns. There's just a group of nasshorns which are hanging out in front of everyone right here. And of course, since they're nasshorns, you can just pop the top of them and kill them. It's very odd that there's just a group of, I believe it's 5 nasshorns which hang out here because they just feel like it. It's just, and they're just, you know, taking pot shots at tanks. So I'm sure killing these things will give you a nice little advantage, you know, to push forward with your troops. So make sure to kill them while you're around here. It doesn't cost you anything, especially if you're a ground attacker. If you're a ground attacker that doesn't have a lot of oomph when it comes to what it can kill, these are perfect targets for you because it's a group of 4 SPGs that you can easily just annihilate with even 7.7s because you can just shoot through the top. So yeah, it's as simple as that. So there we go, there's all of them destroyed. As you can see, there are 5 carcasses there. I don't know why I'd only counted 4 of them. Maybe one already got killed by the AI because I was a little bit late spawning in. So you can see that even if, you know, you only have light attacker capabilities, even 7.7s, you are able to kill 5 nasshorns from it. Now you can see the advancing forces are panzers onto the town, making it feel like this is the 1941 Battle of Smolensk. Hopefully this map is used in the World War mode for the Battle of Vitebsk, since it is around a similar area. So the forces on the eastern side are Panzer IIIs mainly, and also some armored cars, and I believe some AA as well. Mainly the Panzer IIIs though, and the AA. If we look at the other side, which is of course the defenders, if we look in this scenario, you've got a brash set of pillboxes around the area, around this area mainly, and also some medium tanks. So the idea is you have 3 tank columns, they all go into this area here, and push through, kill the pillboxes, and then push into Smolensk. You know, it's as simple as that. You see this concept a lot on the majority of aerialistic maps, where you have one side which is the fighter and the other side which isn't, but there is a little bit of a difference where you have a column of medium tanks alongside the light pillboxes. Now these medium tanks, as you can see, are T-34s. They're able to go up and down these areas here, and there is also a spattering of howitzers and also anti-aircraft around the area too. So what you have is not just targets, you know, light pillboxes and medium tanks to hit. There's also just howitzers just sat around the place, and obviously taking them out will mean that it will make it much easier for your tanks to push forward. So you can see that the howitzers are already firing at the tanks coming in, so if you take them out, it makes everything easier for you. And then once you get past that line of light pillboxes, there's a few more howitzers here, and there's a few AA in the center of the town, which you can see in a line here, and that's it. Like that, that's really the only forces that you can find on this map in the center. As I said, it's an incredibly light map. You can see that you have 20 forces either side, it seems, which is not a lot, or maybe just a little bit more than 20, meaning that we're not having a massive ton of AI battles. What we're having is, you know, a line of light pillboxes fight a line of tanks, and then the Soviet side, the western side, has a line of T-34s. And what this means is, you know, the main contest here is either taking out this line of pillboxes or taking out the line of tanks coming in. That's it. That's the two main objectives. So if you're a ground attacker or if you're a bomber and you don't want to hit bases, all you have to do is knock out one of these columns. I would say the central one, because you can see that all the way along here, all of these tanks have stayed incredibly close together, whereas this one they've spread out a little bit more, and we'll have a look at this other column up here as well. It would be much better to hit the center column if you wanted to hit one of them, whereas if you wanted to hit the northern column, you could do that too, because guess what? They get to the top of this hill here, and then they just start dying from all of the stuff coming on. What is interesting though, as you can see, is all of the bots died. Why are you not respawning? I may have not put enough bots on, but the main thing that you can see is that the Soviet side also gets open top tank destroyers. It gets SVGs in the form of what look like Hummels or Nashorns as well. So on the Soviet side, over there in that area, you get Nashorns or Hummels, and on the German side, the eastern side, you also get you know, Hummels or Nashorns. I believe they would be classed as Hummels in this case, just because of the barrel. I could be wrong though. So if you want some cheap kills and cheap thrills, you attack this area here with your attacker. You're able to, but the other two columns that you see here are going to be medium tanks. So yeah, there are soft targets for both sides to hit. If you want to hit them on the eastern side, you hit the northern column, which is just full of, full of SPGs, and then the central column is AA, which you can see at the back here, like these guys here, and then you have Panzer IIIs, and then the other column is exactly the same, but you can see that they both follow in along this one line. So the only place you have to worry about is this line here, this road next to the river. You don't have to worry about anything else. Just follow that road, you'll find enemy tanks, and you'll be able to destroy them. And on if you're playing on the eastern side, you just kill the pillboxes. Like it, you know, simple. So let's have a look at the bases, and then we'll have a look at the central part. And I'll talk about some weird things that I think have personally been missed from this map. First of all, you've got a wonderful wall around the place. It's a little bit jagged, but overall I think the wall serves its purpose. It looks really nice and makes the town itself look really nice. I didn't find any really high definition areas of the town, but if you look from a bird's eye view, You could easily make this into a tank map, especially since you have some cool areas like here and here, and encase the tank map with the wall itself. The only problem is, as I said, the high definition and the hill. You can't really see the hill from this area, so we'll do a low flyby to show you. But if you have a massive hill on a map, you end up with stuff like 38th parallel, where you have a point which is an absolute arse to fight over, instead of it being a free-flowing map like some of the others. So, from this position, Smolensk looks absolutely beautiful. Now, I'm running on medium graphics with HQTAA on. The reason I'm doing this is to not tax my system so much, because, well, let's just say it's getting a little bit warm. And you can see here what I mean by the contour of the or the lay of the land, where, you know, it's flat, 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 and skadunk, like a big hill down onto the bridge here, and then the industrial area is also flat as well. So you do have a problem with altitude when it comes to it, but I think that could be fixed. Whoop, got to watch out for that. So let's have a look at the bases themselves. The general combat area, like this area here, is so small compared to the rest of the map. Like, this is it. This is all you get for a combat area. So if you are a ground attacker or a bomber, this is the basic area where you're going to be working with, and that's it. And the map itself extends way further than the airfields. So you can see here, the first base looks like some kind of camp, and it looks like we're going to have to take off again. Because the AI are being silly, which is completely fine. But you can see it's like some kind of either depot or supply area, which is kind of common for these types of things. At least you'll be able to see how the map starts from this point. But the fact is, like, the two or the three separate zones are all different, which is awesome. You know, that's exactly, at least in my opinion, how it should be. So when it comes to once we get like modular bases, if we ever do get that, kind of like how we have modular airfields, we'll be able to kill certain bases for specific reasons, so it affects other things on the map. I think that's really, really interesting. So you can see where the lay of the land is when it comes to the vehicles. You know, you've got the SPGs here, you've got the two tank cores here, and you've got the SPGs here. So if you're a ground attacker, if you're a bomber and you want easy kills, you aim for these two areas here, or you aim for the two bases. The map is, as I said, it's incredibly small. Like, let's work out how long it takes me to actually get to the center. We're about 1:59 here, and taking off in the J5N1. Not the fastest of fighters, but definitely up there with some of the best. You know, this thing is 5.3 at the end of the day. So, yeah, it's not going to be sluggish, we'll say that. And the reason why I think this is a low-tier map is obviously the amount of, you know, the fact that it's only 21-21 in major things to kill, and also just the small combat area. But I probably won't explore it, but if you actually play this map, you can just keep going. Like, this map is way bigger than what is shown here. There's a lot more detail. Further places, like that bridge over there, as you can see, that just isn't used at all. And there's a bunch of just areas where the railway goes, which are, you know, miles away in every direction, which you can actually go. Like, you can fly way past both airfields on this map and just keep flying. So it is definitely a large map. It's just all of the fighting is going to be focused around such a small area because of the fact that you have only the objective around this little small area here, which is kind of a surprise. The other thing to also talk about is, I would call it a missed opportunity. The railway that is in Smolensk seems to be set up, at least on this map, as a transport railway. It's some form of distribution point. There is also a lot of industry around the railway. What could have easily been done is trains being added to this map. And maybe that is a plan for the future. Obviously, I'll never know. But there are no trains on this map yet. And there is also some issues when it comes to the tracks themselves, which may prevent trains coming in the future, which is what we'll go into. So once again, coming in, you can either as a ground attacker attack those 5 SPGs, or you can attack the guys on this corner here, which would be up there somewhere, on the hill, and just kill them. That's 5 easy kills, and we're not even, we're what, like 3 minutes into the match? No, we're about 2 minutes into the match. So it's taken us 2 minutes to get to the front line, let's call it. You can attack howitzers, you can attack AA, you can attack light pillboxes, you can attack the column which is over there, you can stunt any of the growth of the enemy units going against yours. And now we've hit the center of the town, so it's about, what, 2.5 minutes? 2.5 minutes to get to the center of the town, which is absolutely nothing. You can see the railway hub that I was talking about here with all the different railways and the factories over there. So there's obviously a lot of production at Smolensk, which is really cool, and it's nice to see that it's modeled, but unfortunately these trains don't do anything. Well, sorry, there aren't any trains, it's just railway at this moment in time. But as I said, if there would ever be railway added, that would be wonderful. So let's have a look at this first point. As you can see, it has some artillery pieces around it, it has some trucks around it. This kind of looks like some form of observation point and not really anything else. Nothing crazy, maybe a little supply zone, but that's it. Then, if we go to the next one, which is sat over here, and yeah, I would class that as like an observation point, or a very, very light supply point, or just a very, very light barracks. You know, there's nothing going on there which is absolutely critical to any war efforts, apart from, you know, maybe observing the enemy. You can already see in the next points that there are large hangars. There is also some smaller, what looks like an encampment. Then you have more observation posts. Then, of course, you have all of the, you know, fuel and silos and everything in this area. So to me, this looks like a fuel depot mixed with some kind of vehicle depot, or maybe even some like vehicle repair area where you would bring vehicles. You know, they have a decent amount of trucks which are sat over here, you know, just kind of sat around. Then you've got all the observation points, but it's very much different to the last place that we looked at. And then if you have a look at the other one, which is sat over here, there we go. This one has much more stuff on it, so it'll be much more easier to see from, you know, higher in the air. There is no AA around these points as well, so that's something to note. There is AA around the airfields though, so watch out for that. And the last point is, what, well, it just looks like a straight fuel place, right? You have a bunch of fuel tanks, you have a bunch of silos, you have only a small amount of residential area. It looks to me this is a fuel depot, or this is a fuel storage area. So all three zones are completely different from each other, and I think that's really cool. I think that if it ever comes down to it, and we see a mechanic in Enduring Confrontation, where if you have different types of zones like this, and one gets knocked out and it has an effect on the rest of the battlefield, that would be great. This isn't something that is true on Smolensk though. So if it is a building block, that's wonderful. If it isn't a building block, then, well, it's a wasted opportunity. Because you made these wonderful models, why not try and do something with them? So the next thing is to talk about the railway itself. Now, if you follow the railway around, which I have done, you will eventually hit the edge of the map and you'll find nothing really there. You know, there's nothing that this railway connects to if you go either way. All the only thing it properly connects to or bothers about is the central hub. So let's have a look around the central hub, because that sounds fun. Let's land and make sure to not hit anything. It would be nice to get a tank map around here, whether it is, you know, a user mission or not, just so we could go around it and see what everything looks like. So here are the tracks for the railway. So you can see in this area they're very much straight along the ground, meaning that you can easily traverse them. This is perfect for trains. Obviously they all intersect really well, they all interconnect really well. And then you have, of course, the bridge going across that you can see, and then it gets a little bit bumpy. So you can see here that the railways, the railways are just a little bit bumpy, you know. For some reason they're on a raised platform compared to the rest of everything, and I have no idea why. And if you keep going over there, because unfortunately because of the waviness, I've actually knocked my prop hubs here, you can see that, we'll actually go land over there, but you can see that for some reason they're on a raised platform. So I don't really understand why, and also obviously there's a lot of crossing over of this railway here. Not exactly sure what's going on there, but from the air, you know, it looks good. It's just from the ground, it doesn't look so spicy. It looks a little bit mangled, but then again, if it's for an air map, you kind of expect these things. You expect, you expect a lot of HD quality and a lot of polish, but if it's not being changed into a ground map and it looks okay from the air, then it's, you know, good to go. I personally wouldn't expect any more than that. But it's just interesting that you have this wonderful opportunity with a train hub and also factories, and not base something around it, whether it be an event, whether it be some kind of map for World War mode, or whether it be something like just a specific operation type where one team is attacking, one team is defending. There's a lot that you could do here, which would be fun. Now, as you can see, we've actually left the SPGs to do what they want. The SPGs are not killing each other. They're kind of just sat there shooting at each other. So even at this point into the map, we are 10 minutes rich into this. They have still not killed each other. So if you're worried about them disappearing, don't worry too much. Unless your teammates get them, they'll die incredibly slowly over time on this map. So you don't have to worry too much about it. Let's just have a look at the domination or the bomb points on this side. What I'm kind of worried about with this map, if it ever does get into high tier, I'm worried about the fact that it will be so quick to be able to end this match. You know, bomb out these 3 bomb points, bomb the base. It would take some of these larger planes like the B-29, the 264. If these are calibrated to the same, you know, amount of damage being able to be taken at that BR, then all you would have is these things getting knocked out in one hit, and then the airfields getting hit hard. So that is, once again, the fuel silos and all of that idea. And then I'm sure we have the, kind of repair depot in the center with alongside some other machines. It's as if it's a carbon copy. Ooh, wait a second, this is different. Look at this, we even have another model. We've got some larger houses here, we've got some barracks, we've got some silos once again. Look at that, somebody's sheds there, Grandad's sheds up in this. A lot of fuel around that place, so that looks like some kind of small factory area. And then we have over here, this looks like more of the infantry depot. So it looks like we have, 4 different models of bases on this mission type, and that is fascinating, because technically in another game mode, or even realistic in the future, these could all mean different things. You know, they could all give different bonuses or take away certain things, but yeah, this is just the vehicle depot / the repair depot, it seems. So yeah, that's lovely. So yeah, 4 different designs for one single map. That's some wonderful variety. Obviously the general landscape is hilly. It's not really extreme hills or anything like that, but you do have little areas that you can dip and dive and duck. Also a bunch of trees around the place, which look very pretty. Hitboxes are a little bit skew on a bunch of them, so just be careful about that. I've definitely hit a few that I felt like I have missed, but then again, you know, it's me flying. Anything can happen. And we'll just fly over and show you the wonderful SPGs. The tanks still haven't moved into the town. They will move into the town after obliterating the SPGs. But you can see here, the SPGs are still firing from the hill, slowly but surely dying. And then even the tanks, which are looking straight at the SPGs, you know, right here, they have just finally killed off the SPGs. Showing you that if you don't kill the SPGs, they actually do put a decent dent in the amount of vehicles you have on the offense over here. So take that into account. It is kind of crazy how much just 5 vehicles has, makes a difference, but well, on this map it does. So let's have a look on this side, talking about the railway once again, because it kind of has the same problem, where the railway itself is on like a raised platform above the rest. I don't really understand why that is. I don't get why it can't just be flat. As you can see here, look at that. Like, you can already see it. It is a raised platform, and it makes it annoying to be able to land on. I understand you're not supposed to land on it, but I'm thinking from like a gameplay point of view later on, like if you want to add in trains, would this be an issue? Especially with the crossing paths. God damn it, I've done it again. But you can see how wibbly wobbly all of this area is. So yeah, it's just something to take into account. For a lower tier air map, I think Smolensk is looking great. You know, it's got all of the nice attributes that you want. It's got a variety of stuff to attack. I would like to see more AI around the place. You know, maybe on the maybe on both sides you could have another tank column, and maybe some more soft stuff on the eastern side. But overall, I'm happy with how Smolensk looks, and also I'm really wondering if this area could be changed into a tank map. And the other thing, the AA might need a little bit of help killing things. I still haven't been shot by one AA yet while playing this map in custom battles, and I think this is my 3rd try. So yeah, it may need a little bit of help when it comes to it. But anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank B. Young, Blackie, Cyborg James, Daniel Stanton, John Ryman, Martinez, Matati, Moxie, Nito, Nick Graham, Alobralo, Sebastian Corona, Super Cacti, and Elove Goat and Seductive Trash Can for supporting the channel.